Hello and welcome to Challenge Everything's very first episode. Please like and subscribe if you like the content we upload if you'd like to see more. Today we covering a Change My Mind episode by Steven Crowder. I don't always disagree with his content and views, but today isn't one of those days and therefore I'd like to challenge it. He's not the most likable guy, but you have to respect someone that stands by their views and allows you to challenge and change it. That takes balls and we applaud that. He believes that hate speech doesn't exist and it's simply free speech and there's nothing wrong with it. However, I have to disagree. If you go around every day saying negative things about someone and you continue doing this, you create a perception of someone, and the sad reality of our primitive minds is that we will always look for shortcuts no matter what. Rational is supposed to be used, but the human brain fails to do so on many occasions, and if I go around and continuously spread negative views about someone or a specific group, then others around me will automatically start sharing these views. Let's discuss a bit more, but let's get into the video with his first interviewee. No idea why this first individual cannot stand their ground, but have a look, see if you agree with me or not. And please feel free to leave a comment, maybe I'll respond.
Okay, so I think that there should be, one problem I see in schools is the issue of having like racist thought, and that sort of thing isn't like, I feel there should be limits on what should be said in campuses, just as in the senses of like, if there's someone saying like blatantly racist things, I think it'd be better just for all involved so there isn't that sort of hateful attitude, just because it could lead to conflict that isn't necessary.
So you're just talking about like on a private campus?
I'm talking in general, like if someone, let's say there's a member of the KKK that starts walking around campus and starts saying like, this is not my personal belief, but says like white people are the superior race. I don't think that person should be allowed to speak, just simply because it would cause violence. And I think
only on campus?
I'd say on campuses, probably not. Obviously, I know there's a Supreme Court case that allows that speech to happen. They can regulate time and manner.
Are you talking about in general? Are you talking about the government shouldn't allow that person to speak that way? There should be legal consequences? Or are you just talking about a student on campus shouldn't be able to say that?
I'm talking on a student on campus because
Okay.
I know there is a Supreme Court case that says government can regulate time and manner, I believe.
So, why won't he just stand his ground and say in general everywhere all the time? Instead he's being very careful, as if Crowder has something over him, a wild card that he can pull out. At this stage I'm losing respect for the kid because he's supposed to be changing Crowder's mind, not agreeing with him. This happens a few more times.
Of course.
So again, we've talked about on campus. On a public campus, publicly funded campus, you need to provide an equal platform to both political points of view.
Right.
But I asked you about the country at large.
The country out.
So again, that's what I'm talking about here, hate speech. We're talking about legislatively. Sounds to me like you think there should be limitations on speech.
Not, obviously colleges are going to have their own rules. We've covered that. For the country at large, I think that it should be more of a taboo.
Taboo? Really? Come on man, you literally backing out of your argument. This continues and it feels like he's scared of Crowder for some reason, so enough of him. Let's get into it with the next person that does stand their ground a bit better, but still doesn't make great points, but at least manages to push Crowder to say something that sparked the production of this episode.
Right? What do you disagree with me on? What do you want to change my mind on?
I think that certain expressions of free speech lead to violent actions occurring.
Okay.
I think that it's very hard to say that there's no correlation there.
No, I didn't say there's no correlation.
Okay. But then how do we exist in a society when we're allowing people to directly influence or indirectly violent actions occurring?
Well, there's a very big difference, isn't there?
Please explain.
You just said directly or indirectly.
Direct.
Well, she starts out really well, making me believe that finally we have someone who's going to stand their ground. She makes it very clear that hate speech can lead to harsh actions even if it's not in a direct manner, which I fully agree with, and, when you live through it, then you actually understand it. This is my biggest issue with Crowder. He just will never get certain things because clearly he has never experienced it and never will. Let's continue listening to what points she can bring across.
View on that. Is that what we're talking about as indirect?
I think that correlation is what's dangerous. I think because language constructs reality, because what people are putting out there is oftentimes the reason why certain actions occur, I think that there's not necessarily limitations or censorship. I don't believe in that at all, but there has to be a line drawn at some point.
Well, if you're not, did you just say that you don't support any kind of legislation or censorship, but there does need to be a line drawn?
I don't support censorship. I certainly don't think that the government should be interfering in what's put out in the media, but I think that's different than what someone is tweeting out. If someone's tweeting out this violent, I'm trying to draw a distinction, but I don't think you're getting me. That's fine.
No, I think I am getting you.
Okay.
You just said you don't support any kind of legislation or censorship, but there does need to be a line drawn. So what do you mean by line?
Like decency, humanity. I think that.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So I don't understand what you're arguing then.
We reach a stage where you think, wow, okay, he agrees? Then he switches to something that's not severe hate speech, where people were punished, to show that it's really bad to do this, but this is simply a way to downplay something serious. It's the same thing that weirdos do when they say things like, she was wearing provocative clothing, and because of that, I couldn't resist saying or doing something. That's ridiculous and a horrible way to argue your point. The worst part is that no one calls him out when he does this.
You can be charged, convicted for criminal behavior based on speech.
Okay.
We have the First Amendment, so we don't have that here. The term hate speech in those countries is used to create that line, which, by the way, the authority has been granted to their government. In the United States, thankfully, hate speech doesn't mean anything. It's not a legal terminology. Lots of people would like to change that.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about. But if it seems like we agree, if you don't believe that the government should have any role in legislating speech at all, and you're good with it, then I think we agree.
No. Okay, so if someone were to draw a swastika in our commons, is their speech protected?
Well, hold on a second here. Speech is different from freedom of expression. And a lot of people say freedom of...
No. I think that they're very intimately correlated.
No.
Like, people express their speech through different aspects. Yeah.
No.
For sure.
No, legally they're not the same thing. So that being said, the campus, of course...
This now comes across as him just being rude. He makes it clear, nope, you wrong, nope, not listening to you, you will listen to me now. She should have immediately said, yes, it's the same, and they did what he does, state that's his view and not what it actually is. He mentioned legally it's not the same, but he's just playing on words because to express one's views can be done through speech as well, and he's just refusing to accept this. Let's get to his best moment.
That his speech is protected.
His speech is protected.
So when people religious zealots go out and commit crimes in the name of their religion, the
like
rhetoric
Islam?
that incited that violence should continue to be protected?
Yes. Now, unless it's a direct call to action. For example, Louis Farrakhan goes out and he's called Jews everything, I think, from the white devil to mongrels. He's been very anti-Semitic. He has the right to speak freely, absolutely. Now, if someone goes out and says, I killed somebody or I beat up a Jewish person at a pro-Palestinian protest because Farrakhan called them white devils, Farrakhan's speech is still protected.
Wow, just wow, are you paying attention? He literally said if all this hate speech leads to idiots doing stupid things, the hate speech should still be protected. This is insanity.
Every single country that has limited freedom of speech has resulted in a net loss for human freedom.
The emphasis is on you for that. You were the one
Okay,
who
I
made
just
that
provided
claim.
okay.
You said every
Okay, let me put it this
single
way. Every single country that's not the United States
Okay.
is worse than the United
And
States in
please
relation
give
to
me
free
a-
speech
and
laws.
Please give me an actual citation to back up your claim.
I just did.
No, a citation, please. That is
Okay.
a scholarly source that you are going to be able to rely on that has actually done the research for this.
Okay, so you would say that Nazi Germany, Soviet Russia, Maoist China, Che Guevara, Castro regime, Canada, where people... Hold on, I can't listen. I can't go through every single country. Come on, let's not do the wordplay thing.
I'm just asking you to give me a scholarly source that says that.
Okay, I don't have a scholarly source with me right now saying that Nazi Germany is worse off with speech laws than the United
And
States.
so what I said
You're just going to
was-
have to take my word for it.
And exactly what I said was there are plenty of examples where it doesn't work. You're absolutely right. I don't disagree
Can
with
you
that at all.
point me to any example where it
Eventually,
has?
we can possibly get to the point where it can work. And we need to keep trying. That doesn't mean
One.
because it hasn't worked,
One.
we don't give up.
One.
Well,
You asked me for sources. One country that has better net results for human freedom and human rights by restricting speech. What's your source? One.
And when you cannot win an argument, at least try and silence the next person, right? When he was asked to provide a source, he couldn't, but now he's doing it back, and that's how he chooses to end his video. That's a cheap shot. Luckily we're here to challenge everything. In 2018, a South African estate agent, Vicky Mommerg, was caught on video verbally abusing a black policeman. She used the word kafirs repeatedly during her tirade against men who were trying to assist. The word is deeply offensive and considered the most racist in South Africa. The state brought a case of crime and injuria against Mommerg, and a court has sentenced her to 3 years in jail, 1 suspended. This is progress and will deter others from using these hateful slurs. These slurs create anger and hatred towards innocent people of a certain race, and that's why it should not be tolerated. This, in my view, is successful and progress because you preventing the hatred from being brewed, because you showing that if you go around trying to cause hate, it's not good. This is the end of our first episode and we hope you enjoyed it. Please do like and subscribe, and don't forget to leave a comment. We need to be open to each other's opinions, because how else can we grow and improve as a society?